Hey, what's going on today? Listen, I have some pet peeves, and I think you probably do too, so don't leave me hanging out here when I go through some of these. But I got pet peeves, and they just irk me when people use cliche sayings that they think apply, but they're not actually true. Right? Like, here's one. Cheaters never prosper. The heck they don't. They often prosper. Now, I'm not saying it's fair, it's not right, but to say they don't prosper, that's simply not true. How about this one? If you love your job, you'll never work a day in your life. Not true. I love my job. I love what I do. I'm passionate about what I do, and it's hard work. I work hard. Sometimes I get tired. Sometimes I want to quit. Sometimes I get frustrated, even though I love what I do. Here's another one. Flattery will get you nowhere. Yeah, it will. Hey, you use flattery, it's gonna help you in certain situations. It just is. All right, let's go shift relationally. How about this? Happy wife, happy life, right? We've all heard that. The reality is, if your only goal or primary goal is to try and make your wife happy, you will be miserable. Period. Here's another one. We refer, and no judgment here, because we probably all done it, but we refer to our spouse as our, quote, better half. And it's just bad relational math. What it's saying is there's stuff missing in me that you have, and there's stuff missing in you that I have. And when the two of us come together, the two halves make a whole, and we complete each other. That's bad relational math, and it gets us into trouble in relationships because sometimes if your spouse is not quite where you want them to be or think they need to be to fill the things that you think they're supposed to fill in you, we now have a problem. So in this video, I want to show you why half plus half is bad relational math, and instead what you should do if your spouse is not yet where you wish they were. That's today on Relation Shots. Hey, welcome to Relation Shots. My name's Eric Wooten. If this is your first time hanging out with us, welcome to the place to get practical relationship advice that actually works in your relationship. Yes, if you haven't already done so, go ahead and click the subscribe button and the bell notification so you don't miss any upcoming videos. If you want a free guide to intimacy, you'll see the link in the description area below. If we can help you in any area of your relationship, we'd love to do that, whether it's a class, counseling, our membership. In fact, we're running a spring sale on our membership. If you sign up for the quarterly, you get 2 months or 3 months for the price of 2. You basically get a month free, and this is for life. So if you're looking for a community and some resources to strengthen your relationship, check that out. That's our Altered Marriage membership. All right, so no condemnation on this one. I think we've probably all used the phrase at some time, the idea that our spouse is our better half, right? And the idea behind it is simply that we are two halves that become whole together, and so they're my better half, they're better than me, blah, blah, blah. But the problem is many couples who subscribe to this kind of relational math actually end up being frustrated when their spouse is not where they wish they would be because they have a mindset that their spouse is supposed to be completing some areas of their lives that they need completion in, and it leads to frustration and hopelessness. So let me give you some examples. Let's create a couple, Kim and Ron. Fictitious name, so if that's your name, God bless you, love you, this is not you. So let's say Kim and Ron. Kim says, hey, check this out. I'm more relational, and Ron's the go-getter, he's the taskmaster, he's the take charge person. And so I bring him out more relationally, and he helps me get more stuff done than I would on my own. In essence, she's saying we kind of complete each other. My strengths are his weaknesses, his strengths are my weaknesses, and together we become complete. And I'm not saying that this is necessarily a bad thing because a lot of couples are attracted to somebody who is different than them. That's part of our attraction. We like something that we don't have, which we're attracted to. Otherwise, if we like someone just like us, there's no point in the two of us. The problem comes in when at some point our spouse is not quite where we want them to be yet or may never be, and we get frustrated because our mindset is that they're supposed to complete aspects of us. So let's go back to Kim and Ron. So now what happens is Kim wants Ron to be more relational so that the people person side of hers has somebody to connect with and somebody to talk to. And so what happens is she starts pushing Ron to open up more emotionally and relationally What happens is Ron feels a little overwhelmed and he begins to withdraw because remember, he's not that great relationally or emotionally. And now Kim is getting frustrated because he's not connecting with her more emotionally. And at the same time, because Ron's the go-getter, the taskmaster, Ron is frustrated that Kim is not performing better on certain things. She's not as organized as he wishes she was. She's not getting tasks done. She doesn't often follow through. Sometimes she gets caught up in a relationship and prefers hanging out and doing relational things over actually getting the task done. And when Ron tries to come and express that frustration with her, of course, he's not real relational, so he doesn't deliver it well. So now Kim is just hurt and feeling lonely and disconnected because this math of half plus half is bad relational math. Remember, when it comes to relationship, relational math is multiplication, not addition. It's not a half plus a half equals a whole. It's a half times a half equals a quarter. We're not getting there. A whole times a whole equals a whole. That's good relational math. So what do you do if your spouse is not yet where you wish they were, or they're lacking still in the areas that you already knew when you married them, but you were hoping they would get better in these areas and they're not quite there yet? Instead of nagging, instead of yelling, instead of telling them they're not relational enough or they don't focus on task enough, here are 4 steps or 4 things that you can focus on when your spouse is not quite where you wish they were at this time. Number 1, accept your spouse where they are. Listen, we all desire acceptance in a relationship. So you need to accept the fact that, like you, your spouse may be half done in some areas. They may still be baking in some areas. They may not always be where they're ultimately going to be in these areas. And what you need to do is learn to accept that and accept that reality lovingly. Listen, it's not going to do you any good to nag and to yell and to criticize and to condemn to try to get them to become what you want them to become, because guess what? You don't want them doing that to you in the areas that you're not fully whole in yet. So you need to treat them the way that you want them to treat you in the areas they're not yet whole in. And guess what? You may actually have to lower or eliminate some of your expectations in certain areas if they're just not getting there. We can frustrate ourselves by not accepting them how they are, by trying to get them to become who we want them to be, and by forcing the issue right away. So you need to accept your spouse as they are right now. Will they hopefully grow? Absolutely. Will you grow? Hopefully and absolutely. But until they do, accepting them where they are is going to be a much better game plan to help them get where they ultimately need to be. Number 2, how about this? How about you look in the mirror? Yeah, if you're a person of faith, Matthew says, take the log out of your own eye before you look at the speck of dust in their eye. Listen, there are issues that you have that you're not fully done yet. There are issues that you have that frustrate your spouse just like theirs frustrate you. So maybe instead of pointing out what their issues are, maybe you should go to them and say, hey, what aspects of my character, what aspects of my personality, what habits do I have that negatively impact you, and how can I work on those? Maybe you start there. And as you work on those, you become a model for what they can do, and you model something that they may begin doing in their side of the relationship instead of nagging and bugging them to try to get them where you need them to be. So look in the mirror, please. Number 3, be a team. Look at the areas of your life and your relationship from a team perspective. Create a culture in your relationship of where you are a team together working on the issues of the relationship. This is why I advocate that couples have a weekly staff meeting when they are working on areas of their relationship. This becomes a meeting where you get together solely to talk about and solicit feedback from each other about how things are going in the relationship. This is a place of no condemnation, no shame, no guilt, where you are coming together and actually asking. So take Kim and Ron at a staff meeting. Here's what they would be doing. Ron would be saying, hey, I know you want me to be more relational and connect more emotionally. I've been trying to do that this week. How did I do this week? and he can get real-time feedback from Kim. And Kim, on the other hand, can say, hey, I know you've been wanting me to be a little more task-oriented and organized. I've been trying to do that. How'd I do this week? And get real-time feedback. It always feels better when you ask for feedback than when it's just given to you when you're not asking or ready for the feedback. You're going to tend to be a little bit defensive. So create a team culture where you guys are working on this together. And number 4, be patient. Listen, be patient with one another. Nothing good happens overnight. You may be frustrated because you think they should be a little further along in whatever area it is by now, and maybe you feel like you've been growing quicker and faster than they have been growing, and you've been putting in more effort than they've been putting in more effort. But if you're struggling with patience, do this for me. Think about your biggest issue. The biggest thing that you've struggled with personally, whether it's a habit, a character trait, a behavior, an attitude, maybe it's procrastination, following through on things, maybe it's your anger, maybe it's your impatience, whatever it is that you struggle, trying to be more assertive, whatever it is, think about how long you have been aware of it in your life and how long you've been struggling and working on it, and you're still not there. That should give you a little more grace for your spouse and what they're working on. Think about how long, if you're a person of faith, God has been patient with you trying to get your stuff together, not snapping his fingers going, come on, you should be further by now. Let's go, come on. So think about yourself when you're struggling to be patient, and be patient with them. If you're modeling, if you're supporting, if you're accepting, if you're trying to work as a team, they will eventually get a little further down the road. It may not be where you want them to, but somewhere is better than where they are today. So you may need to be patient. So there you go. If your spouse is not where you want them to be, there's 4 things that you can begin to focus on and think about, and understand that my better half plus half, is bad relational math. You need to be a whole person. They need to be a whole person. And you guys need to support each other in the relationship. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. Love to hear your thoughts. What has worked for you in your relationship when maybe there's an area that your spouse has not grown the way you thought they should grow in? What do you do to help them get there? What do you do to manage your own expectations in the process of them getting there? Drop a comment below if we can help you in any area of your relationship. I promise you, we'd love to walk with you in this journey. Check out all the resources in the description area below. And until next time, I'll see you right back here on Relation Shots.